Stampers, this is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. This is the card we're going to make today. It's using the Jar of Flowers photopolymer stamp set with the new coordinating punch. And then we're going to make it a shaker card, so even more fun stuff. So hopefully you're out there watching me. Just kind of making sure I go live on here. Yep, I can see it. Yay! So welcome. Again, my name is Lisa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I go by the name Queen Bee Creations. Today we're going to be working out of the new catalog. This is the new stamp set, the Jar of Flowers, and then the coordinating punch that goes with it. And then they have these little shaker domes. Here, I have one out of its container. And so I'm going to show you how we use this. And this is very similar to the snow globe one that we had for Christmas. And you'll be glad to know there's a new stamp set that came out that will also use the new snow globe shakers. That's a non-Christmas set, but it'll still use the same dies. So in order to get started, I'm using a Bumblebee card base. And this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a layer of cinnamon cider that is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then a layer of very vanilla that is 3 3/4 by 5. And so that's the layer we're going to be doing our stamping onto, but I wanted to make it look like there was water in the back of this shaker, and so I used just a layer of Seaside spray, and I just got a scrap I had that was a little bit bigger than the jar, just so that it will be able to stick onto that, and then I'm going to stick it onto the card, and I'll show you how we go about doing that. So to start out with, I'm going to take the jar that has the little markings as if it has the reflection on it, and so I'm going to go ahead and stamp that in Seaside spray onto my Seaside spray cardstock, because I just want it to be a little bit of a hint, because obviously glass is fairly clear. And then we also have additional stamps that will go in it. Now you can either make it, you know, half full of water with the reflections, or you can flip it over and there's a solid side. So these two stamps, or maybe even 3, yeah, the 3 stamps are designed so that you can stamp on both sides. You can stamp the solid side, or you can stamp the detailed side. And so for the little one, I'm going to use the flat side. So I'm going to put this on my block with the flat side up and the detail to the block. And then I can come in with a little bit of my Seaside spray, and I'm going to stamp off and then onto here, because again, I'm just looking for a little bit of hint of water. And then in the water, of course, will be the stems that go to our flowers, and so I'm going to stamp the stems in Old Olive, because I have some Stampin' Blends that will coordinate with that. And so I'm just going to ink this up, and being the clear, we can look through the block at where we're going and stamp it directly where we want it into the water. So there's the stems flowing into the water, and then I can bring in a light Old Olive and just darken up the stems a little. If you're out there, just give me a thumbs up, or, you know, let me know you're out there. And if you're watching this on replay, just type in replay. I love to know what you guys think of the projects, and if there's ever anything that you want to see me do, just let me know. I'm always open for ideas. So if you have a stamp set you want to see how it works, or you need ideas for, just let me know. I'm always looking. Okay, I have my stems in there. Okay, so now I'm just going to take some seed beads that I happen to have around, and I'm going to try to very gently place these in the middle without them scattering too much. because I want the beads to be in the middle. So then I can come in with my shaker dome and place that over the top. So I'm just going to take, the edge of my paper snips. You could also use the end of the take your pick tool, but something that's going to expose the adhesive on the back of the jar. And then I'm going to very carefully place this over the top and enclose all those beads. So now we have our shaker card with the beads in it. You could also, put the shaker dome upside down and then try to place this on it, but you'd have to kind of look from underneath to make sure you were lining up. And I didn't want to try to do that on camera. So we went the other way. So there's my shaker beads. And then I'm going to take my very vanilla layer. Again, this is 5 inches by 3 3/4, and I'm going to take that coordinating punch and I'm going to just push it in as far as it will go and then center it and punch that out. So that's going to give me the opening that the shaker dome is going to fit through. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I stamp my flowers on the top. So I chose to use the sunflowers. There are other flowers within the set. So there's lots of beautiful choices that you could go with, but I chose to use this one here. And I'm going to do that in Memento black ink because we're going to be coloring with the Stampin' Blends. And so when coloring with the Stampin' Blends, you want to make sure you're using a dye-based ink. If you're going to be using any kind of watercolor, then you want to use StazOn. But that's the difference. You want to make sure if you're coloring with Stampin' Blends, you definitely have Memento, and if you're coloring with water, you want to make sure you have the StazOn. And then I'm just going to quickly color some of it in. Remember that if you need anything I'm using in this video, you can purchase it from my online store. And as a thank you for purchasing from me, I do have a PDF tutorial. Every month I choose a different stamp set to work out of. And it's not that you have to use that stamp set, because sometimes you can just use the folds that I've used. But this month I chose to use the Under My Umbrella bundle, which is a stamp set with a punch. So for this I used Old Olive, again for the leaves, and then I'm coming in with the light, actually it's dark Mango Melody. And if I was doing this on my own without trying to speed this up for you guys, I'd use the 2 colors. I would accent with the dark and then go over it with the light to blend. You'd want to do little sections at a time because they blend best while they're still wet. So if they're not blending for you, keep laying down more ink, because the wetter it gets, the more it's going to blend. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how I'm going to do the center. I'm using the 2 colors. I'm going to use the dark just to kind of highlight the edge and maybe the middle. And I'm doing the same side for the most part because it would be at the angle that the light comes in at is where your shadows would drop. So you would want to make sure that your dark part is on the same side on all of them. And again, I went with the dark, highlighted, and I'm going over with the light, and you go right over the top of the darker. And then I have a pumpkin pie here that I would do these smaller flowers. And then I wasn't sure what this little thing down here was, but I chose to do it in gray granite. So now I'm ready to take off the second half. And so this is the other side of that dome shaker. There was one on the back side that we stuck to the Seaside spray, and then there's another one I took off that's going to expose the adhesive that's going to make the very vanilla layer stick. So then all I have to do is place it right over the top, and of course the shaker dome lines up perfectly with the punched hole that we just got. And of course I went a little bit long on my scrap piece. I should have trimmed it down to fit, but since I didn't, I'm going to use my paper snips and just take off this little bit of extra. And then I'm going to put my cinnamon cider onto the bumblebee card base. And then I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere the shaker dome. Now I could lay it flat, but I chose to pop it up just a little bit. Since it's already got the dome on it, it's probably going to require extra postage or not go through the mail. So I'm not too worried about using more than one layer of dimensionals, or dimension, I guess, since part of the dimension is the bubble for our shaker. But then again, I can go ahead and just set this in the middle, line that up. And there's the front of our card, minus a little bit of coloring I'm not boring you with. And if you wanted to, you could add a cute little bow. If you're looking for one of these bow makers, my husband has made me quite a few so that I could sell them to you guys. So I have these at $7 a piece. They cost roughly $3 to mail. So for $10, you can get this very cute little bow maker that allows you to make perfect bows. All you have to do is line up, you know, how big you want your bow to be, and then you're going to wrap it behind, and you're going to do left over right and come behind, and then all you do is tie a knot. And so I just did that really quick, and here's a perfect bow ready to go on the front of our card. So how cute is that? Nice and simple. So if you're looking for one of those, just let me know. I can get you one. That's the noise that's going on in the background, by the way. This laser engraving is what the little buzzing in my background is. He's got today off, so he's burning some things over there. And then all we need to do is do a little bit on the inside. So I'm going to reach over here into my drawer. I have a whole bunch of pre-cut layers that are 4 inches by 5 1/4. I cut them by the whole stack. Every time, you know, whenever I run low, I take the whole 40 sheets of Very Vanilla or Whisper White, and I cut them into this size. We also want to remember that we can also decorate the envelope. I mean, you can choose to just put a few little flowers in the corner, or you can decorate up the back. If you're going to stamp on the flap of the flower, I suggest stamping this way, then opening it up, and then stamping this way so that the flowers hang off the edge and get caught on your scrap paper underneath, and then that makes sure that you only have your inking on the flap itself. And if you're going to be stamping on the front, I recommend this lower corner just a little bit, because you want to make sure that they can read the whole address, your return address, and then of course your stamp. So we don't want to clutter the front too much, but a little bit in the corner works well. I haven't had any issues with the post office with that one. Now this jar of flowers did not come with sentiments, and so I did get another set, which I thought was super cute, this Many Mates. And so this had, I love the stamp sets that have sentiments that will cover lots of occasions. We have the Just Thinking of You, the Happy Birthday, Get Well Soon, Happy Anniversary, Congratulations, Thank You. It covers all occasions. And this not only has an outside sentiment, but it has an inside sentiment as well. So this covers lots of occasions, and it is red rubber, which is of course my favorite. But I'm going to take this thanks and go ahead and stamp this into the middle, and then just the flowers down in the corner. So I'm just giving it a little bit of something that's going to tie it together. Again, I will color that in with the Stampin' Blends when I get a chance here. And then we'll just place that on the inside. So there's our cute little card with our shaker dome. Here's what it looks like all colored up. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you like today's card and you give it a try. Again, if you're looking for someone to shop with, I'd love to help you out. And you would get my customer appreciation PDF as a thank you. So thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you next Monday here at 2:30. Thanks for joining me. Bye.